Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Whoever That Is. It's one of two singles currently released by Matthew McCloskey. You can stream both singles wherever you get your music. He'll be performing at Two Bears Tap and Grill very soon. Stay tuned to learn more about that performance. Be sure to keep up with his musical efforts by following him on Instagram at Matt_McCloskey_music and by finding his Facebook page.
That I can shake, and all that I could ever be is really on me, whoever that is. There's times I feel like hell and I can only blame myself, whoever that is. And out along the shadow walks someone you used to know, whoever that is. And would you then still be my friend if all it was me, whoever that is?
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. I am incredibly excited for this Music of the Mountains episode. This interview is essentially 4 years in the making, as I am finally interviewing a musician that I first met in the early days of my Music of the Mountains column. Before we get into this episode, though, let's get into our preliminary announcements. If you haven't subscribed to The Mountaineer yet and you want to get news from peak to peak, then be sure to head to our website at themtnear.com and click on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our homepage. From there, you'll get full access to our digital archives and scanned copies of our physical newspapers. You can also choose to send a physical subscription to your mailbox or to the mailbox of someone that you love. If you're interested in being involved in the paper and or the podcast in any way, shape, or form, then email our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hart, at info@themountaineer.com and or myself at media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. You can also ask us questions about advertising or head to the mtnear.com/advertise to learn more about what options are available. And finally, before we get into the interview, here's our top story today, brought to you by Brittany Wagner.
Our top story today comes from Dave Gibson, 4th of July Barn Dance. Established in 2019, the 4th of July Barn Dance at the Gilpin Fairgrounds Barn is now firmly entrenched as a local holiday tradition. New Family Dog with special guest Bridget Law and Fiddle opened the show at 1:30 p.m. Tweeners entertained attendees outside in between the main stage acts. John McKay and Robert Garland, Adam Paz, and Mountain Sand kept the momentum going with their own unique stylings. The High Road Home proved once again how much can be achieved with a guitar, mandolin, banjo, upright bass, and fiddle. High Lonesome's version of Simon & Garfunkel's The Boxer was artfully executed and rang a familiar bell. As if they'd been waiting all day for the moment to arrive, dancers packed the floor when headliner Magoo took the stage at 7:30 p.m. All proceeds from the event were donated to the Gilpin School Music Program. You can read the full story in this week's Mountaineer or at themountaineer.com.
Thank you so much, Brittany, for bringing us our top story today. Now, let's get into this interview. our guest this time around. Do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Yeah, of course. My name is Matt McCloskey. I'm 30 years old. I'm a independent musician living in Fort Collins, Colorado. When I am not playing music, I teach high school English at a high school here in Fort Collins. And I've lived in Colorado for about 5 years. I grew up in New Jersey originally. So I've been out here since 2020 and I love Colorado. Colorado's my home.
It's amazing to finally have you on as a guest for the Mountaineer podcast, Matthew. To get us started in this interview, where did you get started in music in the first place? What's your musical background and how have you developed your performing into today?
Yeah, I started playing in front of people when I was really young. I first started performing when I was probably about 13 or 14 years old. It was just like we had a local open mic at like a little coffee shop where I grew up in Jersey, and I started going to there with my parents when I was either freshman in high school or like 8th grade or something like that. And yeah, both my parents were musicians, so I got into it pretty young. And so yeah, I feel like I've been gigging for most of my life at this point.
And you've continued to perform locally. The last time I saw you perform was in 2021 at the Train Cars in Netherlands. And now I can finally bring you onto the Mountaineer podcast because you're performing in Idaho Springs very soon. Did I miss a performance of yours in the Peak to Peak area at all? Have you jumped back to perform in the Peak to Peak area since I saw you in 2021?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. So I don't think I've been back to Ned since the Train Cars gig. Actually, no, I've been to Ned once. I did the Netherlands Farmers Market about 2 years ago, I think. I think that was 2023. And so, yeah, I just don't have that many connections in Ned. But yeah, for the Idaho Springs gig, I am constantly finding myself going down 70 just because I'm always going down that way to go up to the mountains to either go hiking or to go snowboarding or something. And so Idaho Springs was just a town that I was always passing. And so one day I just decided to explore the town a little bit and start just asking around and seeing which places had music, and somebody pointed me over to Two Bears, which is like down the highway a little bit, and yeah, they were nice enough to give me the date, so I'm excited to come back.
So you perform a lot of covers in your gigs, but you've also been writing original songs. How do you balance performing originals and covers in each of your gigs?
Yeah, so it really depends on like the amount of time that I'll be playing for. I believe when you saw me up at the Train Cars, that was a really long gig. I had to play for like 3 or 4 hours. And so when I do those kinds of gigs, I rely a lot more on cover material just because I don't really have that much music out there. I do have original music that is released in like a couple of different places. I was in a band before I moved out to Colorado called The Punch Bowl, and their album is on all of the platforms and Spotify and all that. And I still do a lot of Punch Bowl songs, but I don't do so many of them because we were like a louder 4-piece rock band, and sometimes those songs just don't really translate so well to the acoustic setting. But I've got a lot of original music since that project too that's like a little more recent, and so I actually have 2 songs on my Spotify now just under my name, Matt McCloskey. But yeah, it really comes down to time length. When I'm playing 2-hour gigs, it's probably a little closer to 50-50, but then when I'm playing anything longer than 3 hours, I'm definitely leaning on cover material a lot more.
And how long have you been writing songs for?
I think from probably around the same time that I first started performing. I started performing when I was like 14, and I wasn't really writing quite that early, but the writing didn't come that much later after performing. I probably first started writing songs at 16 or 17 years old, probably about that. I mean, my first high school band, I think I was about 15 or 16, and so we were all collaborating and writing songs for that. So yeah, I've been writing for a pretty long time.
What's kept you coming back to the writing process in general? And over the years, what's kept you coming back to leaning towards covers in your performances?
I mean, the things that I guess keep me coming back to original music is, well, like, A, it's just like life experiences. You live more. You have more experiences to talk about. You have more memories and things that you want to share with people and stories and tales of your travels and life and whatever. So the more you live and experience, I guess the more you kind of want to like share those things. And so I use music for that purpose, definitely. And then I guess what brings me back to doing the covers is just almost like the more like working aspect of music, because when you don't have a ton of original music like myself, and if you're trying to like monetize your career as a musician at all, you absolutely have to gig. You can't just rely on streaming and social media and things like that. So you absolutely have to gig, and a lot of places want you to play long. A lot of places want you to play for like 2 or 3 hours. And so to get those big gigs, to be able to play those ones by yourself, you got to have a pretty big catalog of covers, unless you're going to be sharing the time with other people. And I don't really do that because I travel so much. I'm always all around Colorado. So I'm doing these gigs myself. So I got to know a lot of covers to get through those.
I'm really excited to continue this interview with Matthew. Before we do, a quick break. This episode of the Mountaineer Podcast is sponsored by Regional Air Quality Council, the Front Range's lead air quality planning organization. RAQC collaborates with state governments, organizations, and individuals to improve air quality and protect Colorado's health and environment through planning, policy development, and program implementation. The RAQC's current priority is ground-level ozone, the Front Range's most pressing air quality issue. For more information, please visit raqc.org. To learn more about ground-level ozone, what individuals can do to protect their health, and how to help improve our summer air quality, please visit simplestepsbetterair.org. You can also sign up for timely text or email alerts on this website to know when it matters most. Welcome back. Let's get back to the interview. In terms of your performances, Matthew, do you typically perform solo? Have you performed with other people in any capacity? Are there pros and cons to playing with other people versus playing with yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I was in a band called The Punch Bowl. That was my rock band from a couple years ago now. That album came out in 2017, I believe. So that was a while ago. Since then, I haven't really played in many official groups. I just did a little bit of a tour at the end of May where I went out to some spots in western Colorado and then Utah and a spot in New Mexico as well. And when I did that, I brought a percussionist. I've got a percussionist that I play with. His name is Brett Ross. He plays in a bunch of different groups. He plays in a country band. He plays in a jazz band. He plays some Latin stuff. He is one of the most dynamic and polished and professional drummers that I've ever played with. And I play with him as much as I can, but because he's involved in so many other projects, I can only get him so often. But I love playing with him when I do have him. I love playing with other people in general more than I like playing by myself. It's just playing by yourself is so much easier.
Now, as I've already talked about, I first saw you live at the Train Cars in 2021. There's a reason why that performance has stuck with me all these years. I was incredibly impressed watching that performance, how you were able to carry yourself with just your voice and an acoustic guitar for 2 to 3 hour set. Over your career and musical playing, how have you been able to build up to the point where you can perform solo for hours?
It's just time. Yeah, it's really just like the time spent doing it. Like I told you earlier, I've been performing since I was really young, and a lot of the songs, as far as like the covers that I do, a lot of the songs that I do are very simple, and a lot of it is stuff that I've known for years and years and years. And so a lot of the stuff is just stuff that I've been both listening to and playing for like my entire life. And you know, a lot of it stuff is just stuff that's been out there for like a really long time. Like I do a lot of almost like classic rock standards, kind of like things that everybody knows, things that people hear all over the place, whether it's on the radio or in movies and whatever. And so, yeah, no, I just do like a lot of classic songs, and I've been doing them for a very long time. And so just like anything else, the more you do it, the more confident you get, the less and less you kind of have to practice it. You just kind of know it because you've been doing it for so long. And honestly, like I think I'm at that point with most of the stuff I do. I'm actually getting together with some guys today to practice. So that same drummer that I was telling you about, we've got a trio gig this weekend in Holyoke, Colorado, and we're going to be playing that with a bassist. So we've got another musician involved for that, which means we've got to practice. And we also might be throwing some new songs into that one, which means we got to practice those. But as far as playing by myself goes, I feel like I don't really need that preparation or practice component just because I've been at it for so long. And I've been doing kind of the same thing for like a while now. And so a lot of the stuff that I do, I just have down really well.
And what do you love most about performing live? What's kept you coming back to live performances?
Well, as I said, I'm a teacher, so I always have all of my weekends and summers off. And so having all that time off just kind of makes me, I don't know, I feel like if I'm not exploring and like being outside, if I'm not doing that or if I'm not making music, then I feel like I'm wasting my time because those are the things that I really love to do. So sometimes the music kind of takes a back seat when I am working, but as soon as those breaks come around or as soon as summer starts getting close, then I start booking gigs as much as I can because I really like to get out there. And gigging is also great for traveling too because I like to travel the country a lot, and especially during the winter, I love to snowboard, and so I like to go to these mountain towns to go snowboarding. And so being able to pick up gigs in those places and have the gigs pay for my travel habits is definitely something that's kept me coming back. Gigging is great, man. It can do so many things. It can bring me to different parts of the country. It can help me meet people. It can pay me. It can give me an excuse to go somewhere that I otherwise wouldn't. And all of those things are what keeps me back to doing it. So.
And is there anything you hope people will take away from your music when they come to see your gigs?
I don't know. I guess if there's anything that I would want people to take away, it's just that music is just, there doesn't have to be that much that goes into it. Like I was saying earlier, like I don't do a ton of preps. I don't do like a ton of social media or anything. It's just something I do when I have the time. And yes, like I do gig a lot. I stay super busy with performing. It definitely, I think to a lot of people that know me, I think it definitely seems like more than just a hobby, and it definitely is. But I guess that if I wanted anybody to take anything, it would be that, like, I don't know, music can just be easy and fun, even if it's just you playing the songs that you listened to in high school and, you know, the same songs that you've listened to for the past 20 years. Even if your open mic performances or your gigs are just that, that's cool. And that's really not far from what I do. I'm really just playing songs that I like, and I'm playing the originals when I can. And so, yeah, I guess that, like, music doesn't have to be like a super serious, committed thing. It definitely can just be free and easy.
Well, even though you primarily perform covers in your live shows, you've been writing more songs, and you've just released some.
Yeah, so I got 2 songs that came out earlier in 2025 this year. They're both out on Spotify right now. The first song is called Different Skies, and that's got the trio that I'll be practicing with here in a couple hours. That's got a bassist and the percussionist on it. So the bassist's name is Evan Embry. He lives in Fort Collins here too, and the drummer's name is Brett Ross. Yeah, we recorded that as a 3-piece. It's kind of like a love song. It's about when I first moved out here and how there was somebody who still lives back east that I was missing or longing for or whatever. And then the other song that is out is called Whoever That Is. It's probably my original that I'm most proud of. And it's just kind of like a testament to road tripping, to adventure, and just kind of like a story about exploring America and some of the different either funny or strange things that have happened to me in all of my travels. And so I think that that's probably the song that's got the most streams. And when I perform live, that's usually the one that I get the best like reception to. So yeah, so I really like doing that one. And yeah, Different Skies, the album art for that is this. I didn't use any filter or photo editing or effects or anything. The album cover is just this really beautiful picture of a really beautiful sky that I took from my campsite in Yosemite when I was there. And then the album art for Whoever That is a black and white picture of a mountain goat that I took at the top of Gray's Peak when I first moved out here, probably about 5 years ago or something. And so, yeah, those are the 2 songs that are out right now.
Well, is there anything else about your upcoming performance at Two Bears or anything else about your musical performances that you want to add?
Nothing really. I mean, I think the one thing that I am most excited about or most proud of when it comes to my life as a musician right now is how often I'm gigging, especially what my July looks like right now. I'm really proud of my July. My July is insane. I am just going to be all over Colorado, and I'll be going back to Utah. I've got my first performance in Moab coming up, and I just think that that's so cool. Like, I'm really excited to be able to go to a place like that and play there. I've got dates in Leadville. I've got dates on the Front Range. I've got dates in Breck and Salida. And so, like, yeah, I'm just really right now, I think, most happy and, like, most proud of how all over the place I'm going to be. If there was any other one thing I could share, it would probably just be, like, my calendar of just exactly where I'm going to be, because I've got a pretty wild calendar coming up. Yeah, and if anybody wants to stay up to date with where I'm performing, I usually post those things on my Instagram. It's kind of like the only thing that I use Instagram for. I pretty much only use it to post, like, the gigging calendar, and I usually do it, like, a month at a time. So right now I just put my June schedule up, and then I'll be putting July schedule up soon. But yeah, my Instagram is @McCloskey_music. And if anybody wants to keep up with me and see where I'm performing at, that is the best way to do it.
In that case, I think those are all the big questions I have on my end. Thank you so much, Matthew, for coming on board to join us on the Mountaineer podcast after all of these years of me seeing you perform live for the first time. I'm so glad I finally got to interview you and get you onto the podcast. If you want to see Matthew McCloskey performing in the Peak to Peak area, then be sure to head to Two Bears Tap and Grill, located at 33295 US 6 in Idaho Springs on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, starting at 1 p.m. To keep up with his music, you can follow @Matt_McCloskey_music on Instagram, and you can find him on Facebook. His songs, Different Skies, and Whoever That Is, are available everywhere. And if you want to see a live performance of his online, you can head to the Black and Blues Music and Brews YouTube channel to see him perform for the Locals Lounge series. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on board and tuning in to this episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the podcast. And in the meantime, if you want to share this episode of Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, or other episodes with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of our homepage, or head to our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. If you're interested in being involved in the paper and or podcast in any way, shape, or form, remember to email info@themountaineer.com and or media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. And finally, our most important links can be found in two places: our individual episode descriptions of our podcast and on the top right side of our homepage. So be sure to check out either of those locations to find our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and events calendar, where you can submit your events to promote on the Mountaineer calendar. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.
The stars are out and the moon is high, though we're each given a different sky. Mine brings rain to the plains and yours kisses the orange groves, and the water here is chilly, nights are getting windy.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Different Skies. It's one of two singles currently released by Matthew McCloskey. You can stream both singles wherever you get your music. He'll be performing at Two Bears Tap and Grill, located at 33295 US 6 in Idaho Springs on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, starting at 1 p.m. Be sure to keep up with his musical efforts by following him on Instagram at Matt_McCloskey_music and by finding his Facebook page.
You're missing the seasons and it's been getting cold and I've been getting lonely. My sun sinks behind the mountains as the darkness grows. The spaces between wraps around the forest, sweeps across the desert out to me. Spaces between the Gulf of Mexico and 1,000 miles of sand, and you're still in my dreams.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.